The Heritage Reformed Churches came into existence in 1993 as a result of a split. And splits are always very painful things to go through in the history of the church. Your own denomination, the URC, came into existence as a result of a split around the same time. And our roots, just like the URC, are very much in the Netherlands. Our churches really come out of a revival of God's work in the 19th century, resulting in what was called the secession, when churches began to separate themselves from the mother church, the Reformed Church, which had become corrupt also in its teaching. The Enlightenment had very much corrupted the ministry of the gospel, and the common folk began to gather together. To make a long story short, after 1834, you see a whole development of churches that culminates in the formation of several Reformed denominations by the beginning of the 20th century. And so our churches have their roots in what is known in North America as the Netherlands Reformed Churches. And as is true for every split, there are usually a number of contributing factors that finally lead to it. But I believe that one of the primary reasons why this split occurred has to do with the preaching of the gospel itself. And so there was a growing concern that the denomination from which we came had drifted completely into a hyper-Calvinistic direction. And for years already, there were those of us who tried to bring the denomination back to the teaching of God's Word regarding the gospel, also when it comes to the offer of grace. All of that resulted in growing tensions that finally led to the split in 1993. Since then, we have grown into a small denomination of 10 churches, 5 in Canada and 5 in the United States of America. Though we are small, we do have a seminary that is growing quite rapidly, Puritan Reformed Theological Seminary. I belonged to the very first class. When the seminary started, there were 4 students. I was one of them, and it has now grown into an institution of 150 students, and it continues to grow. Your own pastor, Pastor Boekestein, was a graduate from that seminary. As a denomination, we are increasingly developing a relationship with the URC. We have entered into the initial stage of ecclesiastical fellowship. I have the privilege right now of living right next door to the Pompton Plains Reformed Bible Church, which is also a church of your denomination. And the reason I live there now is because I had to retire from pastoral ministry due to the fact that my dear wife Joan was diagnosed with a very advanced form of breast cancer. So prior to that, I served 2 churches in Canada. From 1998 till 2005, I served the Heritage Reformed Church of Jordan, Ontario, which is very close to St. Catharines, close to Niagara Falls. And then from 2005 to 2012, I served the Heritage Reformed Church of Chilliwack, British Columbia, in the Fraser Valley, about an hour and a half east of Vancouver. And because of my wife's illness, I felt compelled to retire from the active ministry because I need to look after her. And so we have relocated in New Jersey, which is where my wife's family is from. And we are overwhelmed by the love of the Pompton Plains United Reformed Church because we live in a home that is adjacent to their church property, and they have been so gracious to allow us to live in there free of charge. And so they're treating us as if we are one of their own, and we are very much indebted to them for that remarkable demonstration of love. I've preached for Pastor Kukin's church several times already. Since I am next door, I offered him my services and said, if I can help you at any time, I'd be happy to do so. Another connection with the URC is through my son-in-law, because my son-in-law, the Reverend Brian Najafor, was just installed as the pastor of the Dutton United Reformed Church, which is the home church of your pastor, which, by the way, is where he is today. Your pastor is preaching today in the church of which my son-in-law Brian is the pastor. He was just installed there a few weeks ago, married to my youngest daughter, Sarah. And so I am very grateful for the fact that I can be with you today. I really look forward to preaching more often in United Reformed Churches. At your last synod, I addressed your synod on behalf of the Heritage Reformed Churches, and I encouraged them to open their pulpits and both ways, have URC pastors preach in our pulpits and our pastors in yours, because that's the best way we can get to know each other. And so I'm very grateful for the fact when I made known also to the URC churches that I'm now a retired pastor and am available for pulpit supply. I was very pleased when your pastor contacted me and asked me to come here. And so it is my pleasure and my privilege to be able to be in your midst and to bring God's word to you.